Today we're taking a look at another brand new JJRC car. This is their new 1/10 scale Willys Jeep, and how cool does this thing look? I love all of the scale details. Check these out, these look so cool, and I think you're going to be surprised when I tell you just how much this costs. And at the moment it's only £42 for us here in the UK. I think that works out at around $65, and when you consider just how much detail you're getting on this little Jeep, I don't think that's a huge amount of money. You may have noticed on the front, this one has a winch, and I'm excited to see how that winch performs. Of course, we're going to test that later. This thing is also covered in LED lights. For £42, so far, I'm very impressed. JJRC have been bringing some really cool new RC products to the market, and I have featured quite a few of them on my channel. One of my favourites was the little ripsaw. That thing was incredibly good fun, and again, it was actually really affordable. And what I really like about JJRC is they're giving people some really cool options without having to spend a lot of money. For example, if you want to have some RC fun, you really don't have to spend over £100 or $100. A lot of the JJRC cars are well under that price. Now, I will admit, a lot of these cars aren't really full on hobby grade. You'll find that they're kind of in between toy grade and hobby grade. Yes, they do perform well considering how much they cost. And if you're just looking for some cheap RC fun, well, these little cars are going to do really well. You may want to consider something hobby grade when getting into the hobby, and there are so many choices available. I've done so many top 5s and top 10s on my channel. Definitely check them out if you're looking for a budget RC car. Back to the Willys Jeep, and let's take a look at what you get in the box. So let's talk about what we get in the box. Then of course we're going to get back to the Jeep. Now, this is the transmitter. These things aren't too bad. I've come across this before with their little ripsaw. You don't get a foam grip on the wheel, but I'm not really fussed about that because this is a budget RC car. Up on top it looks like we've got our steering trim adjustment, our on and off button, our light control button, and of course the retract and release buttons, which are going to be for the winch. Here we have a 500 milliamp hour lithium ion battery, screwdriver, your typical cheap RC car USB charger, and of course a very basic black and white manual. Now, it doesn't matter what angle you look at this from, it just looks fantastic. Usually I'm not a massive fan of scale RC cars, but this one I actually really like. So this is really cool. There's the windshield, and you can fold that up and down. That definitely makes a bit of a difference. Gonna leave that up for the moment. You can also fit a canopy on this, although they haven't included one in my box. So we have got some tools on the side. On the back we've got a full-size spare, a plastic front bumper, and of course that winch. The tyres feel quite firm. There is foam in there, but they are quite firm. So underneath, of course, this thing has plastic drive shafts. It also has a plastic front and rear axle. Suspension wise, this does have leaf spring suspension, and there's not a huge amount of travel on the front or on the rear. There's no oil-filled shocks here. This thing is back to basics. Now, it does look like we've got metal chassis rails. Of course, down there is the on and off button. Under this little flap here is where the electronics are housed. Down in the middle there, we have the motor and transmission. And I do believe it's a tiny little brush motor. Everything is pretty much plastic on this. As you would expect, this is a budget RC car. Now, I don't know if you can see, but there is a linkage leading up to the steering wheel. So I think when you turn the wheels using the transmitter, the steering wheel will also turn. That's actually really cool and something you don't always see on cheap RC cars. So under the bonnet or the hood is where the battery's housed. This is nice and spacious. Now, Banggood have sent me the version which also includes a winch, and the quality of this winch actually seems really good considering this is a budget Jeep. Now, to fit this is actually quite simple. You only have to remove some screws and you can tuck the wires away nicely. There's only one spare plug on the control board, so you know exactly where to plug this thing in. I think this is a very nice little feature, and it's something you don't always see on a budget Jeep like this. Right, I've got this powered on. Let's check out that steering servo. Yeah, not too bad. There you can see the headlights, and if you press the light control button on the transmitter, there you see the spotlight lighting up. This also has indicators. It's pretty much the same story on the rear. I don't know if this has brake lights. Yes, it does. Right, let's see how powerful that winch is. Well, it can definitely pull its own weight. Very cool. So far then, this little Willys Jeep is actually looking really cool, and it's only $65. It's also a decent size, of course, because it is 1/10 scale, but it's all going to come down to performance. Is this cheap little Jeep actually going to perform really well? The running footage might look a bit odd because I couldn't find a driver that would actually fit in this. Truthfully, I'm not really a massive fan of scale RC cars. Yes, I don't mind reviewing them, but it's not something I would use in my spare time. So I don't have a huge amount of drivers ready to be put into this thing, so we're going to run it without. It may look a little bit odd, but let's see how it performs. So let's see how fast this thing is. Let's start the GPS. No, I'm only joking. We're not going to GPS speed test it. There's no point, because I could probably walk faster than this thing. How cool is that? It just looks so good. I've said it before in lots of my other videos. RC cars like this, they're not really made to go fast. You know, these things are made to look as scale as possible. And this thing certainly looks scale. Very, very nice. So let's see if this thing can handle some grass. Yeah, easily. Even though that brush motor is small, it has plenty of power. Yeah, JJRC are really starting to impress me. We're seeing lots of really cool cars. And this is just another really cool little car to add to the cool list. Very, very cool. I can't help but feel this would look so much cooler if I had a proper driver. I think I need to start investing in some proper drivers for when I do these scale truck videos. Before we end the video, I want to have another play around with the winch. I want to see if this thing can pull some of my other RC cars. Let's start with the MT10. Can it pull the MT10? Yes, it can. Can this pull a 1/8 scale Nitro Hyper 7.5, which by the way is pretty heavy? Yes, it can. Do you know what? I definitely wasn't expecting the winch to be as good as it is. If you're going to get one of these, definitely get the winch to go with it. So there we go then, guys. That was the 1/10 scale JJRC Willys Jeep. Something a little bit different here on the channel. I like to do different stuff now and again. Of course, you know I'm more into the bashing side of things. These scale trucks don't always do it for me, but I like to do a variety of different things on my channel to make sure I appeal to every single audience. I actually really enjoyed running this little Jeep today. Yes, it's not perfect, the suspension's not great, and of course it is down on power as well. But if you're looking to get into the hobby and this is the kind of thing you like scale trucks, I think this is probably going to be a really good option. Just remember, for a little bit more money though, there are so many cheap and budget options out there. It's definitely worth looking around. I think people will buy these to customize them. I can see them being a good canvas to do some weathering and stuff. Again, not really something I'm into, but I know loads of people enjoy that kind of thing. For $65, it's a great little canvas to work on. Let me know in the comments what you think of this little Jeep. I think we can all agree JJRC are doing some really cool stuff at the moment, and I'm hoping we see some more new releases. Cheers for watching, see you on the next one, take care. If you want to see more from JJRC here on my channel, click one of these videos now.